Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we are taking on Dare to Defy Nyx Stage 3, and we are doing a little Final Fantasy VI themed run here. We've got Locke, Edgar, and Mog. So really what I'm doing here is Locke is my main DPS, and Mog and Edgar, they're just kind of like two filler echo characters that like they're okay, they can do some cool things, but they're not characters I'm gonna like need for other fights, right? Mog is interesting too because he can keep the enemies kind of locked down with his confuse, which I kind of like that. So the goal here is I am operating without like a true force charger. Locke and Mog though can both heal, so we do have healing covered. So yeah, we're just gonna get BT effects up, try to get into our force because we start at 50%. I know that I can beat the enemies to their force. This fight too is a little annoying because this is a fight that I think a lot of people know very well because it's been on the weekly crystal quest quite a bit, and I know this is a fight that I would try to roll for because I kind of got the handle of how to beat it. But it's annoying because when they go into force, they have a force that you have to cancel. It's a 20-turn force. Typically a 20-turn force means death because when they're that long, it means they pretty much want you not to be able to wait it out. And you have to cancel it. They have a very easy cancel condition, though. It's just melee damage, right? So they have one of those pesky force times where they're going to heal back most of the damage you deal them, so you're not going to like make any progress on them if they're in force time, so you do got to get them canceled out. But the other thing they do that's really annoying is when they enter their force time, they apply an invisible 2-turn paralyze on the party. It's like an aura. So like debuff evasion doesn't stop it. Like there's really no way to avoid it, I'm pretty sure. You just have to sit there and take it. So you have to make sure that you either go into a force time before they get into theirs. And then by the way, they have that threshold laser, which took some health down, but we can heal that back, not a big issue. Locke has healing, like I said, and Mog does as well. And then Locke's BT effect, too, will make it so that we don't go below 50% health and we can't be broken. So Locke's BT's got some really nice defensive utility on it, right? And then our poor boy Edgar, he's just kind of there. He's pretty much the Neon role if you watch my last fight. He's pretty much just filler and he has Echo and he can do some damage, right? That's really what Edgar's there for. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to do a Final Fantasy VI kind of theme here, and I might do more of these on other runs, depending on, what characters I have available and what I feel like I can do on the fight, but I'm really trying to spread thin my main damage-dealing characters, my really good supports, and try to spread those out and use as much kind of filler characters as I can, because, oh my gosh, I don't even know. I'm sure there are enough. Is there enough Echo characters? I actually don't know. Are there even enough Echo characters that have full Echo teams for all of these? I don't know that there is, because you're looking at, I'm pretty sure, at least 21 stages of Dare to Defy. And you'd have to have, if you wanted full teams of Echo, that would be 3 times 21. I don't know that we have that many Echo characters in the game, so I think it's impossible to do full Echo on every team. So, like, the solo runs really help, and I've got 2 solo runs done under my belt here. I think there's a 3rd solo run I could have, because there's a run I have with Auron that I did plug them with 2 characters that maybe I can go back and solo that fight, so I might do that if I feel like I need those characters. Because at this point, it's not even, like, needing a specific character, but it's just, like, I just need a body that has Echo, right? That's kind of, like, what it is, so I think solos are actually quite valuable here because, like, this is the first time I feel like in the game where I've really felt the pressure to, like, that I really got to save characters, because since they've come out with Dare to Defy, ultimately you only ever had to be prepared for 7 stages, so I never really felt that much pressure. Like, I could do 7 stages and I got so many really good characters. 7 stages is no problem. But when you're talking 14 stages, 21 stages, this is the first time since Dare to Defy that I've really felt pressure that, like, yeah, I want to solo as much as possible. I might want to do duo runs. I really got to think about who I'm using. And I didn't do that for the first set because I thought they were going to be separate pods of 7, and they're not. They're all connected. So my characters I used on the first 7 stages are locked out right now. So I got to be really careful moving forward. And I may need to go and unlock some characters and redo some stages. So we'll see. Right now, I'm going to try to do it without unlocking any characters from stage 1. I'm going to try to leave everything as is and see if I can still squeak by. And we just got to be very creative and efficient with our team builds, right? Like Jesse showing up there is interesting because Jesse's a character that I definitely am going to get some use out of that I normally probably wouldn't use on this, right? Fusuya, a character I probably wouldn't use, but hey, he's got Echo. I'm probably going to throw him in somewhere, maybe somewhere where the Paralyzed can be useful. Oh, and then Cryle, man. I wish Cryle had gotten an upgrade because I really like her, and I like her even more after beating Final Fantasy V. The thing that's so cool about Dffoo was it, and this is just a little reminiscing here, but it got me to like a lot of characters that I had never played their games. So, you know, and I think I hear this commonly from a lot of people, that people really like Type 0 characters and they didn't play Type 0, which makes sense, right? Because it was, what, a fairly obscure Japanese phone game, and then they did release it in the US on, like, PlayStation 4. But, like, a lot of people probably didn't play it. I did pick it up because I got it cheap for, like, 10 bucks brand new somewhere. So I do have it. I did start it, but I'm not really, like, in the game. I'm not, like, actively playing it. But at some point, I do want to keep playing Zero because I do really like those characters, right? But, well, Dffoo did get me to like a bunch of characters I didn't know. It also, I got a ton of enjoyment out of playing the characters I did know really well, like these ones here. And then now after playing 5, I really have more appreciation for the Final Fantasy V characters in this game. And I wish I had more time to kind of play around and enjoy those characters more and for them to get more upgrades, right? Because, yeah, like Cryle BTFR would be so fun to play with, I feel like. Lena, I was already really liking Lena, but I appreciate her a lot more now knowing her backstory and understanding why the Windrake is there, right? And why she has Windrake's ward. Totally makes a lot of sense. It totally makes sense. And, you know, Kryle's connection to Moogles, why is that in the game? Well, now it makes a lot of sense to me now that I've actually played 5. So it's cool, like, just understanding. And the one thing I think that we maybe don't talk enough about with Dffoo, because I think we've always praised the game being very free to play friendly, very fun, very good battle mechanic. But I think what we don't maybe praise it on enough is the game does a really good job of representing the characters and keeping them true to what they were in their games for the most part, right? So like with Final Fantasy V, how they like level up and they get the stars above their head, right? And then having these thematic things like the Windrake. And I guess I'll talk a lot about 5 because I understand it a lot more now, but all of the attacks being various job commands of jobs that you could learn. And I did not realize how many of the attacks actually came from the exclusive jobs in the Game Boy Advance, right? Because the exclusive jobs you get are Gladiator, Cannoneer, and Oracle. And the two I noticed a lot were the Cannoneer and the Gladiator because Ferris uses the Cannoneer ability, open fire. That is like exclusive to that ability, so that's like one of Ferris's main attacks. And then Bart's uses the Gladiator ability Finisher, and I believe it's I think that's his LD attack, is it not, where he does Finisher and then Elemental attack. And I did not realize that it's like legit word for word does that in the game. You click Finisher and then he either does critical hit or Elemental attack, so it's very good. And then Ianuki is another one of Bart's abilities, and I think that was a samurai ability. I think it was, yeah, Ianuki. So yeah, it's just really cool seeing all of those things come together. And then like with Lena, you know, Lena does Rapid Fire, which is a very prominent ranger ability, which is one of the best abilities in the game. But then she does like the Goliath tonic and stuff, so she's got like chemist stuff in there, because the chemist will like mix items together and get different effects, and Goliath tonic is one of the chemist items that they can use. So that's where that kind of stems from with Lena and like getting all the HP and stuff. So yeah, it's just very, very cool seeing that. And then I've talked about before, we'll talk about like these Final Fantasy VI characters, how they just represent their abilities so well, right? So like Mog's abilities really representing dance and kind of Dragoon abilities, because he's got jumping and he's got dancing abilities. They did such a good job with Locke, because like literally when I played the game, and you could do this with any character, but Locke was always the character I did this with. I always gave him Genji Glove and Master Scroll, which were like the 2 relics you wanted to equip, and it made it so the character would attack 8 times in a singular attack. And literally they make it so that Locke, and he's a thief, so he steals the items, he essentially has those items equipped, and then gets that big 8 attack. They recently made it in his most recent rework where now it does 16 dumps instead of 8, so it kind of just doubled it all, but that's really cool. It stems back to the game where you actually equipped the relics and got those attacks in, right? And then Locke's connection with the Phoenix Cave in the Phoenix Esper, which is why he gets like the Phoenix healing ability and all that. So yeah, just such a good job there. And then Edgar being the machinist with all the tools, incorporating all of that into his attacks, right? And you can go down, you know, like I obviously could go through every character and talk about this, but you just go down the line and you look at most characters. I would say not every character is perfect, right? There's definitely some characters maybe they could have done a better job with, but for the most part, when you play these Dffoo characters, they all play very differently. They all have a different feel to them, and they're all somewhat reminiscent of what they did in their original games, right? And have some semblance of that, which I like that. They did a really good job, right? It wasn't just like, I didn't feel like I'm playing a game with some faceless warriors that have Final Fantasy character skins on them, right? I don't feel like that. Like, I feel like I actually am playing the character Locke from Final Fantasy VI. I feel like I'm actually playing the character Lightning from Final Fantasy 13. They really did put a lot of thought and care into the character designs in this game, which, you know, talking about this makes me more sad that this game is leaving, because this game is darn near a perfect gacha game. Like, it's perfect in the sense, like, for the players, right? Like, how much we like it. Obviously, it wasn't perfect because it's reaching end of service. And if it was perfect, it would be making a lot of money while appeasing the players, which is a very difficult thing to do. But from the player standpoint, it was a perfect gacha because it was so free to play friendly. The battle mechanics are so good. And as I was talking about, it's just such, I guess you would say, almost like a fan service game in terms of like, it gives us all the characters that we are fans of in the Final Fantasy franchise, but represents them so well, and they're so fun to play and to use. Like, look at Mog. Like, how can you not love that, man? Like, seeing all the stuff in there. Look at him go. So, yeah. And they did, like, even, like, Gao, man. Like, they did a good job with Gao, because Gao is a character that's kind of always in, like, a berserk-like state where you can't really always pick what you want. And he goes, like, when you use Gao's rage in the game, right, he goes into a mode, and then he is that mode for the fight. And Gao in this game has different modes, and you kind of are locked into that mode. Now they kind of opened that up a little bit, but just another example, right? So anyways, guys, there you go, our themed Final Fantasy VI run. Locke did enough damage to get it done. We got it done in 20 turns. Let me know how you guys handled this fight if you challenged it. Let me know your thoughts on, you know, if you want to reminisce on Dffoo with me, feel free to do that. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.